Hey, good morning. Taylor Shabrick here with Cartwright Realty. I want to discuss a few things today about a program called Hometown Heroes. I know for years, growing up as a kid, my dad would always tell me, hey, Taylor, the best thing to do when applying to purchase a home, you really want 20% down. Okay. So if it's a $300,000 home, you want $60,000. Why do you want to do that? Well, there's a couple reasons. You want a lower payment. It's going to allow the lender to feel that you have more skin in the game, right? So that way you can purchase something of this mass. Another reason is a home is the biggest asset you're ever going to purchase. Short of purchasing a Ferrari, a Lamborghini, a Bugatti, a yacht, the home that you buy, any home you buy, first, second, third, it's going to be the biggest investment of your life, okay? So a lender needs to know, hey, he's got skin in the game. Otherwise, they're going to look at you and just be like, well, we'll go to the next guy, okay? Since then, since the 80s, 90s, 2000s, a lot of things have changed. Lending laws have changed. Asset-based programs came about. Stuff happened, right? So what I want to really reach out to these people today and say is, I'm a Marine, a veteran, Marine veteran. I was a law enforcement officer in a nearby city in Georgia. We'll just leave it at that. And anybody can tell you that's been in the service, or if you just have knowledge about the service, we're not multimillionaires. We're not making hundreds of thousands of dollars. Now, yeah, if you're the CO of the base, if you're the CO of thousands of troops, you can get up there, okay? But it's not going to be 5 years. It's probably not going to be 10 years, and it most likely won't even be 15 years before, you're that amount of money to where it's just like, hey, here you go. Whether it be 20% down, 50% down, buying a home in cash. It's not going to be super common for those people. Now, it doesn't say that most people aren't doing that, right? However, the Hometown Heroes program is a program set aside for our heroes here in Florida, our law enforcement, our firefighters, our paramedics, EMS, our teachers, educators, our healthcare workers, whether it be doctors, your dentists, your nurses, okay? All of these encompass our Hometown Heroes. This program can allow 5% of the purchase price or up to $25,000 towards your closing costs. Now, if you're watching this, you're saying to yourself, well, Taylor, I'm a veteran. I'm active duty. I don't need a down payment. You're absolutely right. You don't. However, this makes you that much stronger of a buyer. Okay. The thing that we were dealing with in 2021 was so many sellers didn't want to use a buyer who was VA approved. They felt that they weren't a strong buyer because they weren't putting any money down. They were saying, oh, well, the appraiser is going to hit me on this, this, and this, and then I got to fix all this stuff. Okay, yes, VA appraisals are a little bit more challenging. Okay, they are a little bit more stringent. However, if you understand the nature of a veteran and a veteran borrower and the veteran appraiser, it makes a lot more sense. And that's what real estate agents need to really portray to these sellers, that yes, the appraisal could be a little bit more contingent, which means that the VA is showing how much they actually care about our veterans, okay? So, with that being said, if the seller doesn't care about quote unquote a veteran's feelings, okay, so be it. Look at it from this standpoint. You got a guy that comes in with 20% down. Let's say he has 50% down, okay? That's a good bit of money. Big chunk of change. Then he gets all the way to say 34 days in, and you're supposed to close at 40 days. And now all of a sudden he doesn't qualify as a financing because he's putting so much down. His debt to income ratio is way too high now all of a sudden. Now he's pulling out, your home's on the market forever, and you didn't close. Whereas you got the same scenario, but this guy's VA. He didn't need a down payment, okay? So right off the rip, now it's like, oh, okay, well, they can come back and say, well, hey, if you do put a little bit down, then it'll help everything. But if you're going to someone that's like, hey, you're putting 20%, you're putting 50% down, and now you want them to put even more down? How much of a stressor is that going to be? That's not going to be any easier. Okay. Now, what this program can allow in reference to a VA loan, $25,000, up to $25,000 towards your closing costs and down payment. Again, you're right. Your VA, you don't need a down payment. But do you need help with closing costs? Would it help if you did have a little bit of a down payment? Absolutely. Myself and a lender friend of mine just had a client close just over a week ago. He was part of the Hometown Heroes program. She worked in healthcare. They brought $350 to closing. $350. So when people are coming at me and saying, oh, the rates are too high, this is happening, that's happening, again, it falls back to, do you want to pay someone else's mortgage, or do you want to pay towards something that you can use in the future? Meaning you could sell it, you can refinance it and take cash out to make repairs. You could take cash out and do other investments, whatever you need. You have none of those options as a renter, as a tenant, as someone that else, you're paying their stuff. Okay? So from a consumer perspective, yes, rates are in the sevens. Okay, guess what? Google it. In the past 50 years, a 7% interest rate, that's an amazing rate. Look at the 70s and 80s. It was in the 15s, 16%. That's insane. Of course, when you think about it, what did that offset? During that time, you could go to a bank and put your money in a savings account and it would actually grow. So that's the biggest difference you need to look at now. Okay, rates are in the sevens. What are bank rates at? Like 0.00003. You might make 30 cents a year if your money's in a savings account. Okay, so remember, Hometown Heroes, these are for our Florida heroes. They put their lives on the line, whether it's on the street, whether it's in a hospital, whether it's in a school. Because think about it, these teachers can't discipline these kids because then they get in trouble. So they're having to deal with kids at autonomous levels. All of these types of workers have to wear several hats: psychiatrist, psychologist, doctor, nurse, police, fire, all different sorts of things. I mean, different hats, right? All the time. Quick, fast, efficient. That's what we do. So remember, Hometown Heroes in Florida. It's for the state of Florida. I don't know how long it's going to last. Okay. Yes, we'd all love for interest rates to come down. Don't get me wrong. But at the end of the day, think about this. Do you want to pay 100% of someone else's mortgage, or do you want to pay 7% of your own mortgage? Have a great day. Have a killer weekend. Keep crushing it. Taylor Shaberg, Cartwright Realty, Wesley Chapel, Florida.